Today, I'm going to explain the number one mindset that you as a day trader need to have to be successful. I've been using this mindset for a very long time myself, and I found a lot of benefit from it. It prevents me from over trading. It prevents me from going on tilt. It essentially prevents me from getting emotional. So with no further ado, I'm going to tell you what this mindset is. So this mindset I'm going to explain might sound really obvious, but there's many intricacies and different parts I want to explain. So definitely watch this video all the way through because there's going to be tons of value. But essentially the mindset that I want you to have is your goal as a trader is to replay a statistical edge that you've proven yourself over time, right? So your job as a trader, it's not to make money every single day, right? Did you follow your rules and did you replay the edge you've proven yourself over time, right? So like how do you prove yourself an edge? So essentially the main way I say is you want to go do some back testing. And then with this back testing, you want to give yourself like at least 6 months of data where you say, okay, I've tested all these months and yeah, I might have some months where I don't do the best. I might have some weeks where it might have like a drawdown, but overall, my strategy always over time makes money. Right, so like you have conditions where you're saying, okay, well, let's say we're delivering from a higher time frame gap, we're inverting like a lower time frame gap. I'm going with the trend, and when all these conditions are present, if I place a market order at the point of inversion and I go break even at this point, right? You have all these sets of rules, but you know, like through all these trades, you followed the exact same set of rules. All these setups were similar, so your job as a trader now is to replicate what you've done in the past, right? Like you're not trying to make money every single time. And that's the first thing I want to talk about is the mindset, right? You want to reframe what a winning day in your mind actually is, right? So to me, like I actually lost money. Like I live streamed this morning on YouTube and I lost, right? I took one loss. I took two other break evens, but I finished the day down like 1R. So do I think I'm a loser? Am I going to beat myself up? No. Like I did everything right. Like based on the conditions presented in front of me, I followed my model to the T, and I know that if I keep following my model to the T, eventually it's going to play out in my favor. So today, it might not seem like it's the best option, right? Like today, you might be like, oh, well, maybe you should have waited to go break even, or maybe you should have targeted a lower risk to reward, or maybe you should have moved your stop loss. Like people could give me a million explanations of what I should have done better today. And I understand there's a thing called like overfitting, right? You could look at your data and be like, oh, well, in this trade, I could have had a tighter stop loss, but in this trade, I could have targeted a higher risk to reward. And essentially, at the end of the day, you're just going to confuse yourself, right? Like there is a point where you can overfit a data set and you get to the point where you're looking at every trade and thinking there's room for improvement, where at the end of the day you're not. Like you want to judge the success of your model over a long period of time. And that's another thing too, right? Like your brain, so why is this so hard for traders to understand, right? Essentially your brain has something called a recency bias. So what a recency bias is it weighs the data most recent in your mind more heavily than the other data, right? So for example, in December, I traded absolutely amazing. I only had one losing day in December. I mean, I also took the last 2 weeks of December off, but regardless, I traded absolutely amazing in December. But today I lost. Last week, I finished the week red. I took some losses last week, right? So it's like my mind is going to think, oh, well, the last trade I took, it didn't win. And it's going to favor the most recent information. But you can't let your mind do that to you, right? Like you can't let your mind convince you that just because I lost a couple of trades recently, it doesn't mean I'm a bad trader, right? Like just because I took a couple losses back to back, if it's inside my edge, right? It should mean nothing to me. And another thing too is your brain likes to think like my strategy has approximately a 70% win rate. So does that mean my strategy wins 100% of the time? No, it doesn't. I would be unrealistic if I expected every single trade to win, right? And that's what a lot of traders do though. Like they literally come in and they say, okay, I have a 70% win rate, and they take one loss and they think something's wrong. But it's like inside a winning statistic, losses are included, right? For me to make up my 30% loss rate in that 70%, I obviously have to have losses, right? So let's say over the scale of 10 trades, on average, I should be losing 3 trades. So like just because you lost a trade, it doesn't necessarily mean you're doing something wrong, which again brings me back to my earlier point of overfitting. But I also want to use some analogy, right? I feel like this is a great analogy to use to really like cement this like idea into your guys' head, right? So I'm going to draw a parallel to something else. Now, hear me out here, okay? I know this might sound a little crazy at first, but there are people that go to casinos, right? And keep in mind, like, I do not endorse gambling in any way. I do not like gambling. I do not think you guys should gamble. I'm using this as a comparison to how you guys can use this as an analogy for your day trading, okay? I also want to make that very clear for the YouTube community guidelines as well, right? I am not endorsing gambling whatsoever, but so there is a small percentage of people that go into the casino and they actually make money, right? Like consistently. There's like profitable gamblers. I'm not saying they're common at all, but there is a very small percentage of people that are able to consistently make money gambling. How do they do this, right? It sounds counterintuitive. So these guys are doing the same thing at the base level that a day trader does. They're playing out a game of probabilities, right? So those guys that make money gambling, what they're doing is they're going into the casino. And a casino, keep in mind, is a place where there's probabilities, you're playing probabilities, and you're hoping they go in your favor, but the probabilities are actually rigged in the favor of the casino. The casino has to stay in business, so over time, if you stay in that casino long enough, the probabilities are going to play out in their favor and they're going to be up, right? That's just the nature. But the people that make money consistently from casinos, they think with the probability mindset. They think, okay, there's certain games inside this casino that I can rig the probabilities in my own favor. They can like count cards, or honestly, I don't know too much about this stuff, but all I know is they essentially find games where they know that there is a way to rig the probabilities in their own favor. And their job is to exploit that probability the best they can, right? So they're going into a casino. Everything is rigged against you, but they know there's a certain way they can come into the casino. If they follow a set of rules and they've proven to themselves there's an edge, there's like a mathematical, statistical edge they're following out, right? They're playing out. So as a trader, you got to have the same mindset. Think of the market like to a point as a casino, right? Like if you don't have any plan whatsoever, you're going to lose money, right? Like you're going to get chopped up and you're going to turn this into gambling, right? Because if you're trading stocks and you're day trading, you have absolutely no idea what you're doing. To a point you're gambling, right? Because like if you haven't proven yourself that your strategy works over time, like what are you basing these trades off of? Like you're thinking, "Oh, well, I think this should work." There's many people that think a lot of things should work in the market, but at the end of the day, do they actually work, right? Like, unless you've proven yourself, I know 100% my strategy offers me an edge over the market, like, you shouldn't be trading it, especially with your own money. Like, you can paper trade it, like, but you shouldn't be using your own money on a strategy that you're not 100% confident in, right? So, yeah, I mean, just have that same mindset, right? Like, you're trying to replay a statistical edge that you've proven yourself over time. So it's like when I lose, like I'm not sitting here thinking, oh, what should I have done better? I'm thinking, okay, well, did I follow my model over time? And then when I'm looking for ways I can improve, I'm gonna think, how could I improve this month at the end of the month? Like I'm gonna review my trades as a whole and then think, okay, well, you know what? For a lot of these trades, I see things in common, but there's no way I'm drawing conclusions based off one individual trade. But yeah, I mean, like that mindset right there, I feel like it just helped me a lot. Because I feel like when I take a loss, I think, like, I used to think to myself, oh, I'm so stupid. I should have known better. But now my job is to say, okay, I've already proven to myself my strategy works. I've tested it over a long period of time. I know there might be weeks where it might lose. There might be periods of drawdown. But at the end of the day, this still makes money over time, right? So like, why would I question it? Like, I'm not going to take a loss one day and think my strategy magically has changed overnight. Like, it's not like the market algorithm changed and my strategy no longer works. Like, no, like the strategy still works. I've proven to myself over time. And unless I get an extreme set of data that's outside of like what's normal, like statistically, if that makes sense, I'm not really going to start questioning things. So yeah, I mean, honestly, like that's the mindset you guys got to have. It's helped me so much. And that's essentially, oh yeah, and honestly, this is exactly how I'm going to wrap this video up. It just hit me right now. This is honestly just a raw video. I've been doing this straight off the top of my head. But the last part I was going to say is there is a group of people that has a statistical edge, right? Like they make money over time in the market, but their emotions aren't letting them play out this statistical edge. So one way you can get over that, right? Like let's say you're emotional, you overtrade, you do whatever, like think, like when I proved to myself this strategy worked, right? Like when you did your back testing and you know it works over 6 months, during that testing, were you over trading? Were you over leveraging? Were you taking setups that didn't meet all of your rules? Because honestly, there's a lot of traders out there that do that, right? Like they take a loss, they want to be green on the day. It's a normal loss inside of a winning statistic, but then they go outside of their winning statistic, right? Like let's say they get stop rated and they take another trade because they want to get back in, but it didn't meet all their entry criteria. So like if that's something you were not doing in your back testing, but you are doing in the live market because your emotions are becoming a factor, at that point you're kind of failing at your job because your job was to replay this edge. You've proven yourself over time. But when you do stuff like that, you're going outside your edge. Right? Like your edge does not involve over trading. Your edge does not involve like over leveraging or gambling or taking subpar setups, right? Like you know exactly what your edge involves and you should only be following your edge. So I feel like when I almost like treat myself like a robot, right? Like I only enter when all of my criteria are met. When my break even gets hit, I'm always going break even religiously, blindly, right? Like I'm listening to my trading rules because I know these trading rules will save me over time. And like one little last thing, honestly, to wrap up is I compare my trading rules almost to training wheels. Because like I feel like there's a lot of times in the market where I know where the draw is. Like I know where the market is trending toward, but sometimes I'm not always 100% right. And I feel like what I call these training wheels, it prevents me from taking losses, right? So like let's say I'm really bullish toward the new week opening gap and it takes the most recent internal high and my strategy tells me we have to go break even. Like today, I had this trade. It still hasn't even played out yet. Like it hit my break even point. We've been shopping since. So it's like, even though in that moment in time, I would have wanted to hold, it's like my strategy tells me to go break even. I got stopped at break even. It was the right decision, right? So it's essentially like my training wheels. I feel like in time, I'll be able to get more discretion. But I feel like it takes you a really long time to get to a point in the market where you can trade purely based off of discretion. Like I feel like having rules, like trying to replay an edge you've already proven yourself over time is like a great starting point to kind of get into the market if you're unable to find consistency. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all I got to say for this mindset. So I really hope this video was able to give you guys some value. And also, if you guys are looking for a place to do that back testing I talked about before with, my favorite place for back testing is FX Replay. I'm going to put the link down below as well as my discount code, which is code TIMB272. That will get you 15% off FX Replay, so I highly recommend checking it out. I've been using FX Replay personally for like 2 years now. I really think the backtesting has given me like boatloads of value, and it's honestly part of the reason I'm now a profitable trader. So I really highly recommend backtesting. As well, if you guys are looking for a prop firm to trade with, my favorite prop firm is Alpha Futures. I do have my discount code, which is code TIMB272. It will get you 10% off all valuations, or if they have some better discount going on, it'll get that as well. And lastly, I'm going to put the link to Alpha Futures, if I didn't say that in the pinned comment. And the last thing in that pinned comment is going to be my free Discord. My Discord is completely free to join. There's no paid portion anywhere. You guys are welcome to join there. Tag me anytime. Ask me any questions. I can't guarantee I'll respond in a timely fashion, but I will do my best to respond to everyone in there. But lastly, if you did watch this video all the way through, I hope you were able to find some value from it, like I said before. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to help me out, put a like down below, drop a comment saying your thoughts, and also hit that subscribe button. But I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Best of luck in your trading. Peace out.